What does Rian Johnson's Knives Out mean for his Star Wars films? Well, it probably means the same thing it does for his new Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings, Ghostbusters, Matrix, and Weekend at Bernie's trilogies he's planning as well, since all of those are imaginary trilogies that'll never see the light of day either. How's it going, everybody? This is Phil. So, news broke today, and at least it was news to me today, that this round-headed dipshit Twitter troll of a director, Rian Johnson, will not be making a Star Wars movie for his next film, which makes sense since he isn't making any other Star Wars films going forward. The movie is called Knives Out, which I find to be an ironic title considering how he stabbed an entire franchise and half the fans in the back with his last film that he made with, that subversive piece of shit, The Last Jedi. Anyway, let's get cruising through this one, shall we? This article comes to us by way of comicbook.com, and it's written by the smug, condescending, inexplicable Rian Johnson defender, Patrick the Wolfman Kavanaugh, who I cannot wait to see eat a bag of dicks when this putz officially has his trilogy canceled. So let's get moving, shall we? Star Wars fans are eagerly awaiting the cancellation of the plagiarist shit director Rian Johnson's upcoming trilogy of films. Though the announcement that his next project is the Daniel Craig starring Knives Out has audiences wondering what impact this will have on his Star Wars projects. It will have zero impact because he's not making them, and a 0 times a million is still a zero. It's a big round zero, just like this, big round zero. Okay. The only official details about Johnson's new Star Wars films that have been released by Lucasfilm are that the Star Wars The Last Jedi filmmaker will develop the trajectory of the overall trilogy, with Johnson writing and directing the first film. Well, that's what happens when things tend to not exist. They kind of lack the finer details. Like a plot, a timeline, characters, proposed release date, a cast, location scouting, concept art, the basic things, the basic kind of things you tend to hear about when production of a new trilogy in the greatest cinematic universe is in the early stages of revving up to a full-fledged production. Just the idea that, this guy is dicking around with some other art house project or whatever the hell this movie is going to be, in the meantime, when he should be throwing every last bit of energy he has into this supposed Star Wars trilogy after the enormous backlash and fandom-shattering reaction to that movie he made. This piece of garbage right here. It just demonstrates how tone-deaf he is, and the type of reverence or lack thereof and lack of appreciation he truly has for the Star Wars brand. Schmuck. Let's see. Additionally, the series will be separate from the Skywalker saga. Well, assuming his movies seem the light of day, that would only make sense. The Skywalker saga is over and done with. We don't need an episode 9 to confirm the body. And he already did all the damage he needed to do in his movie. So there's nothing left for him to ruin in this corner of the galaxy. He could just move on to the next spot and devour planets like Galactus and try to take over that corner. Other than these concrete details, fans have been left to speculate about a number of factors. What details? There are no details to be found. Okay, an absolute lunatic could provide more details at this point. Tommy Wiseau would have a better trilogy fleshed out at this point. I mean, You know what? That's what I want. Give me a Tommy Wiseau Star Wars trilogy. Let's make that happen. I mean, why not? I mean, if we're gonna fail, let's do it spectacularly. Jesus. Okay. Let's see here. So, another confirmed detail about the Star Wars franchise is that the only film that has a confirmed release date is Star Wars Episode 9. I mean, at least he wrote it properly, which will land in theaters in December of 2019. Since Disney's purchase of Lucasfilm, fans have been getting one new Star Wars film a year, including films in the Skywalker saga, as well as standalone films. Some fans have been expecting details regarding Johnson's films imminently. But details will require some form of a script or pre-production, which hasn't been taking place at all because the guy's been busy tweeting and going after Mike Zero. Though the Knives Out headed into production in November, the filmmaker likely wouldn't begin production on a Star Wars film until mid-2019. This will leave the door open for a number of films to be released in 2020. He should be in production now. That's the problem. This is such a huge undertaking. How many years? I mean, even revving up to the prequels, Lucas took years, okay, and just concentrated his efforts. The Star Wars franchise should be the biggest thing in this guy's life right now. Okay, there should be no other top priority but making the best possible 3 movies he's tasked with. He's tasked with making 3. This is why this franchise isn't happening. This trilogy within this franchise, it'll never ever see the light of day. Some former viewers will incorrectly interpret this new project as confirmation that Johnson's films will be scrapped. That's absolutely what it is. Kavanaugh, you're another schmuck. Likely a reaction to a small number of viewers not enjoying The Last Jedi. I would say a lot more than small. Just see Solo. However, as recently as last week, Johnson confirmed he was still working on his films. It was yup with the fist bump, right? With Knives Out being a minuscule production compared to a Star Wars film. The entire production schedule would be much shorter, potentially allowing Johnson to continue to work on his trilogy while also shooting, editing, and promoting the Craig film. It's insane. The announcement from Lucasfilm about Johnson's trilogy came before The Last Jedi hit theaters and was showered with praise from fans and critics alike. Yeah, because everybody was duped. Everybody heard it was better than The Empire Strikes Back. All the critics praised it. And then they said they were handing him over a new trilogy, and we all thought this was going to be the greatest thing we'd ever seen, and it was going to fix the mistakes of The Force Awakens, build on everything that we had seen leading up to that point with Rogue One, and it completely subverted our expectations with how absolutely abysmal, terrible, horrible, god-awful, just a rotten piece of filth that movie actually was. The filmmaker previously shared the importance of making a film before returning to the Star Wars series. I do have a couple of well-developed ideas, movies in my head. He must have like centuries worth of movies in that head that I had before this came around that I need to find time to do. No. How come of all the things you have in your head that are well developed, one of them isn't a Star Wars movie? Not even the one you made was well developed. How about we work on one Star Wars movie that actually makes sense and doesn't discredit the franchise? Johnson shared with Cinema Blend earlier this year, and whether that means squeezing one in before the next trilogy starts or what have you, I think it's going to be really important to do that. Dick. Another point worth noting is that earlier this year, Johnson's producing partner, Ram Bergman, noted that filming for a new Star Wars project likely wouldn't happen until 2020, leaving open the possibility of Johnson developing multiple projects before his new Star Wars films. Yeah, this is not a focused man. This guy's delusional to think that he can juggle all of this and produce a high-quality Star Wars film. That, look, even if he didn't juggle a whole bunch of projects all at the same time, he couldn't. He's proven already when all his energy goes into one of these movies, he can't get it done right. So What are we going to get when he's working on something with Daniel Craig, and then he moves on to a Star Wars movie, then he's promoting his other movie, then he bounces back into the trilogy. He can't handle it. It'll never happen. These never see the light of day. It's a completely new trilogy that writer-director Rian Johnson, my partner, is going to create, said Ram. It's all new characters. Everything is new. Bergman expressed from the grapevine. As far as that project's timeline, he confirmed, I can't tell you because we don't know yet. Of course you don't know. Maybe in 2 years. Well, take your time. It's just in the early stages. Please, get a script doctor in it. Get Tommy Wiseau on the case. While fans may have been incredibly excited about Johnson's new Star Wars films, who are these fans? We'll have to remain patient for the project to come together as it has been scheduled. Luckily, we'll also get multiple new Johnson films in addition to the upcoming trilogy. This is not luck. That's unless his luck is bad. That's bad luck. Luck would be avoiding a car accident, not looking to actively participate in one. Which Johnson project are you most looking forward to? Probably him on the unemployment line. That sounds like it would be great. Let us know in the comments below. Or hit up the Wolfman on Twitter to talk all things Star Wars and heart. Don't hit up the Wolfman. It'll only make you go crazy. He's looking forward to these Johnson films. He's a masochist. You don't want anything to do with the Wolfman. Just steer clear of him. All right. So, look. Knives Out, it will be the last movie that has anything even closely related to do with a Star Wars movie and this guy, and that's the only reason, because it's the movie he directed right after The Last Jedi. After that, Knives Out marks the end. And this Johnson is getting cut off. That's the end of it, and thrown right out a window, never to be seen again. The backlash and the poor performance of Solo as a result of the backlash, the way that The Last Jedi was received on Rotten Tomatoes and throughout the fan community and the broken fan community, and the constant tweeting and going after fans and just being completely irresponsible and unprofessional in the way that he's conducted himself. And he hasn't even started what should be his own trilogy. Get him out of there. Rip the Band-Aid off and start anew, okay? No one's going to miss something that apparently we don't even have. He doesn't have it. So how could you miss something? You know, if you write a trilogy in the woods and no one's there to go see it, does it exist? Because this guy has been writing this trilogy in his head for months now, and no one knows what's going on. Absolutely, he doesn't know what's going on. So the smartest thing to do, get him out of there, cut your ties, exercise your kill clause in your contract, which I'm sure you have. Disney's lawyers are very meticulous, and they speak the best legalese on the planet. You can believe that. There's a kill clause in there, and they'll send him on his way. He'll be out the door with Kathleen Kennedy by the end of this month, if not the beginning of next year by January. And his movie will not see the light of day. He'll have Knives Out. He can have forks in. He could have spoons upside down. He could do whatever he wants with whatever kind of cutlery. He can make a trilogy out of that. He could have knives, forks, and spoons, and that can be his trilogy. And he could leave Star Wars to other capable people like Jon Favreau and hopefully D&D and anybody else that they bring on board from this point going forward. As far as this guy's concerned, it'll never happen. That's it. I mean, it's lunacy. And as far as Patrick Kavanaugh, he's having delusions of grandeur himself. It'll never happen. And when it's confirmed to not happen, I urge everybody to then contact the Wolfman and let him know how you feel about that. Because he's been doing nothing but banging his Johnson drum for months now. And he's a troll. He's a shill, and he's another guy who thinks he's smarter than everybody else. We'll see what happens in either the next couple of weeks, or it'd be unfortunate if it had to take a few more months. But there's no way that this guy stays on board for the duration. Anyway, what do you guys think? I mean, this this spells the end, right? I mean, how could he even be doing anything else at this point but concentrating on his trilogy? It's just absurd to me. That's all I would be focused on right now, with everything, with the story, with the characters, with the location, with the set design, with the props, with the costuming, with the music. Who's going to score this next trilogy? There's so many different facets to a Star Wars movie. I mean, this isn't just some little independent film that you can just kind of come in and get a small crew. I mean, there's so many moving parts, and you're working on a trilogy. How could you possibly afford the time to work on anything else? It's absurd, and you're not that good. All right, at least not as it relates to this franchise, and you've been proven. So anyway, I'm getting out of here, guys, because if I stick around any longer, I'm gonna go crazy. That's it. What do you guys feel? Would you like Tommy Wiseau to come in and take over for Rian Johnson? How do you feel about Tommy Wiseau? Do you think he would make a fine substitute, bringing the Star Wars community back together and giving this franchise the kick in the ass that we all think it needs? Comment down below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified the next time I post a video. And that's all I got for this evening, guys. So with that being said, be happy, be safe, be healthy. Have a great night, guys. Bye.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. What's new with you? Anyway, how is your sex life? You're just a little chicken. Chip, 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 chip.